Go ahead and grab your favorite beverage, and we're going to go ahead and start answering all of your questions. All right, so the first one is from All In Survival. He says he's not good at social media stuff. Can I give him tips on growing in our genre and maybe a push in the right direction? One of the best recommendations I can give you for getting better at social media is to just start posting. To start out, focus on one platform. And then once you have a follower base, you can start branching out more and then ask your current followers to follow you over to the next. We found a lot of success for our brand by focusing about 90% of our efforts onto YouTube and maybe about 10 on Instagram. Being a new content creator in this genre is respond to every comment, talk to everybody. Those are the best tips that I have for you right now, just starting out. Instagram, his name is That Guy Works A Lot. How do I plan a route? If you want to look up route planning and trip planning and stuff, check out the other video that I have right here. It's gonna take you through the A to Z steps on how to start planning trips for your overland adventures. Yes, the PDF is free, and just go ahead and download the PDF from my blog, which I have a link to in the description down below. And I just want to say huge shout out, thank you Andrew so much for all the positive feedback you gave me. It really makes all the hours and weeks and months worth of work that I put into these things so much more worth it when I hear from you guys. Nick De La Torre, can I ask how your ARB lockers are holding up? I'm in the market for some on my Tundra, but I've heard some horrible things about them. Our ARB lockers haven't skipped a beat. We're also re-geared, and then we have the lockers on the front and the rear. I haven't done anything to them except normal maintenance, which has really just been checking the hose lines for any leaks. I usually engage the lockers once a month. If I'm not using them, just give them a little bit of exercise. They've been rock solid this whole time. As a overland vehicle owner, I would recommend lockers to other people who get a little more aggressive off-road. In my professional opinion, the shock loading causes more damage to your vehicle than a locker would. There is a learning curve to use a locker, and it's pretty simple to learn. You'll understand how they feel and the turning radius and when to engage or disengage. Thank you for the question, Nick. So this one comes from Christopher Putes. He'd really like to learn all the details about the truck and suspension as he's considering the same setup. Another channel has a similar setup, but they did not seem to have the same load problems with their Tundra. And I think I know what channel he's talking about, and we probably have all seen their Tundra up to now. If you want to hear about the truck and the suspension and all those ooey gooey details, I've got a build video that I'm going to leave a card to right here, and I go over everything in a very monotone tone of voice, and it's extremely dry and boring. Just hang in there, but I think towards the end there's a lot of suspension talk. And this wasn't really a question, but it was alluded to, so I'm going to answer this anyway. They had a similar setup on their Tundra, but they weren't having the same load issues. So I think there's a big difference in what I expected from my vehicle versus what they expected from their vehicle. They also ran a airbag system, and we opted to run no airbag system because we know the volatility of airbags out on a trail with sticks and rocks and sharp things to damage those airbags. So we went with the emulsion shocks in the rear. One of the biggest payload issues that we initially faced was all the swaying back and forth, just kind of like a ship on the ocean, and always felt really tippy and top heavy. But once we had the emulsion shocks on there, we revalved the rear shocks, everything came into harmony, and it's working perfectly now. One of the biggest reasons we went with the emulsion shock is the limiting factor that airbags provide. So if you look inside of an airbag, there's a jounce bump stop, and basically it's going to sit off of your frame or off of your axle, whichever way you have your airbag mounted. It's going to start squishing basically when the airbag gets too compressed, and that is going to limit your up travel. Your down travel, you can have your airbags installed with a Daystar cradle or a cradle of some sort to where the airbag kind of floats freely and disconnects from the axle when you do articulate, but you're still going to be limited on your up travel, whereas when you use the emulsion shock, there's no limiting factors. So Zach Bibry, talking about the WeBoost Drive Reach video that we did. Where did you get that adjustable antenna mount? And I think he's talking about the Rhino mount. It's the folding CB Rhino mount, and we got it from Amazon, and you can find a link to that down below. It's hit or miss on Amazon. They seem to be sold out all the time. So if you can't find it there, wherever you can find the Rhino Rack folding CB mount. Thank you, Zach, for the question. Clover Street, he asks, will a Snorkel work with an aftermarket air intake on a Tundra? And it really depends. Did your aftermarket air take out the air dam that goes between your fender and your airbox? if that air dam is still there, the Snorkel will still hook up to your aftermarket intake. Alan Gardner, he asked, did you find that you're a little top heavy? And Alan, yes, we are a little top heavy, but like I explained earlier, the emulsion shocks, the rated tires, revalving the shocks that we do have, has really taken this vehicle back into a very harmonious balance. I'm much less concerned about having this thing on side hills, off camber, more than I used to be when it was first put on and we didn't have all that stuff. From Sunil Sharma, and he asks, do we have a list of all the modifications that we've done to our truck? There's going to be a link down below. The link will take you directly to our build spec sheet, so you can check out exactly what we did to our truck. If you want to do something similar, you know the direction that we went. This question is from Tristan from YouTube. He asked, what is the total cost of everything for a vehicle? That's a very, very common question that I get. I am working on a video to go over every nook and cranny of this truck and tell you exactly how much we spent for everything and how much you could anticipate needing to spend to do something just like this. Look for that video in the next month and a half to 2 months. Scotty Adams, what trail and lake is this? So Scotty's talking about the hidden lakes of Northern California overlanding adventure, and that is exactly where we're at today. We're big on keeping places wild and clean and nice. Like today when we drove out here, there was a bunch of human feces piles just on top of some rocks. It's really sad to see that kind of stuff take place at a remote location like this. Then animals are gonna get into it and just spread it around. I don't want my kids playing in that, and I'm sure just like you probably don't want your kids playing around in that. So Scotty, if you really wanna know where we're at and would like to get here, there's a chance I'd share that with you, but you need to send it through a DM. So find me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can shoot me an email, austin@wolfpac-outdoors.com. Thank you for the questions, and I look forward to talking to you guys again later. Cheers.
Perfect.